Well, Mark, listening to David talk, I can kind of see the thread of how the traditional music would lead into the music of Kiko and other things that, I mean, we could call the show No Border Music, because that's really what it's about in some ways, is breaking down these borders. But you come from New Jersey, and you were playing this Jewish music with John Zorn, where you took the traditional forms and pretty much just knocked the borders out.
Right, but I just have to, insert a 4-decade long little gap in between the two parts of your sentence. I came from New Jersey, and however, I did not bring any Jewish music with me from New Jersey. I mean, I just need to say that there was a kind of slight, there's a slight parallel to what David was saying about the decision to play the music of my grandparents. It wasn't even actually the music of my grandparents, because like my grandfather played, my grandfather on one side was a junkie from the Lower East Side, and I don't think he played any klezmer, And the one on my mother's side, he got in on the ground floor of all that stuff though. But the one on my mother's side, he may have played a klezmer tune, but he like mixed it in with, he even like played pop tunes. He played them all equally badly, but he played a country tune that he liked, Silver Threads and Golden Needles, so he played a lot of stuff, but he didn't, I don't know. I mean, it was not in any way that I saw, oh, this is my music. Like that was something that happened almost, I won't say as a joke, but it was not an obvious idea. Let's put it that way. I didn't come up thinking, yes, that's me, klezmer music, And I didn't even know what it was until I was like, me and Roy Nathanson of the Jazz Passengers, like we got hired to do a score for a Chantal Akerman film. She's like an experimental French filmmaker, and she wanted a score that had something to do with klezmer. So Roy played klezmer and I made noise. And I was like, yeah. And then we got paid. It was kind of like your experience about, the mom's giving you food. It was kind of like that. So yeah, it was an idea that came for complicated and strange reasons, but by no means organic. Prosthetic. And I have to say that after, it served a certain function, frankly, partly political function, like in the late 80s and early, I do most of my touring in Europe, and me and a bunch of other people from, at that time, like we were touring on this mixture of new music / punk scene. We played jazz festivals and punk clubs. I don't know, they're confused about what jazz is in Europe. Luckily for me. And so, a bunch of us, there was all kinds of stuff. It's easy to forget now, but like there was like a lot of insecurity about, there started to be a kind of skinhead thing that started to take over a certain portion of the punk movement in Europe at that time, and you started to deal with it in train stations, people looking funny at people in the band, and so we decided that was like a kind of good time to come out in a sense, like, because nobody knew who was a Jewish musician. It seemed like it was kind of like a political statement to say, well, okay, Nazi mofo, check this out, So
They probably loved it.
yeah, they did. It turned out it was all good, but then a couple of years after, I kind of got sick of it, and I was happy to go back to being postizo.